Greetings, everybody. My name's Lily Willy. This video, is an impromptu open letter, as you will, and to Ann Coulter. Because what she said recently, it's some of her remarks in regard to the DACA Act, the Dreamers Act. I barely have the calm to address how I feel about what she said. But I find myself having to try. Because it's hard for me to believe. As someone who grew up here, who is the offspring of an immigrant who came here in 1949 at age 11, when he was significantly cuter than I am now and cuter than he is now. Just before his 11th birthday. He himself, the child of two Hungarians, one with minor noble ancestry, who was by profession a village school teacher in his hometown in Transylvania. And the other one, a private piano teacher, who was herself the daughter of upper middle class Catholics and took the brave leap of marrying my dad's dad, a Calvinist Protestant. They found themselves fleeing the Germans and the communists in the 1940s. My daddy was born in 1938. Or, Milady Coulter, if you wish to hear that in Hungarian, my first language, even though I was raised here. Az apám 1938-ban decemberben született. They found themselves fleeing. And I now know, given that the Nazis came in death squads, Lady Coulter, for everybody that was disapproved of by the government, including Catholics. I now know both that my daddy was very lucky for to have had one Protestant parent, because he was a lot safer that way. And I now know also that my daddy's parents were also very lucky that they could operate the telegraph and the telegram, because they were useful to the Germans. And that probably kept my daddy a lot safer than it would have if they hadn't been useful. And even with that being the case, my daddy, as a little boy, was lucky enough to spend time in a refugee camp for political prisoners in Braunau, Austria, where Hitler was born. They were relatively lucky. Many of their fellow beings in Europe and not just the cute-looking ones like Anne Frank, who was relatively young, a few years older than my dad, in her teens, when she died, at the hands of the death squads. Who came for her and her daddy, and her aunt and uncle, her cousin, and many, 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 many more. They were far less lucky. The death squads came for them and rounded them up, much like cattle might be rounded up onto factory farms today, Miss Coulter, and gassed them. If they were lucky, they didn't also have experiments done on their eyes, to have chemicals tested on their eyes before they died. Toddlers, preteens, adolescents, young adults, middle-aged hominids about your own age, Miss Coulter, and elderly people of all religions, not just Jewish people, gays and lesbians, Catholics, gypsies, and many more were rounded up, practiced on, taunted, spit on, tortured, and gassed. And you know why? Because the government didn't approve of them. Are you really saying that you want your country, that you claim to be proud of, to become that much of an insult to freedom? To become that much of an insult, an offense to the freedom, the liberty, and justice for all that you as a right-winger claim to support. I can't believe that you really want that. I hope to every God that it's ever been conceived of that you don't want that. But for crying out loud, as shocking as you want to be, or have tried to be, as anti-leftist as you promote your image as being, do you really want to be that anti-human? Do you really want to be that anti-humanoid? Do you really want to be that anti-freedom? And do you really want to be that anti-life? Because let me tell you something. If you do, then the farthest dwelling hominid dwelling farthest from American soil that had never set foot here is more American than you. If that's what you really want. And I hope you don't. Please, lady. I'm begging. Think about it. Think about it. Contemplate on it. Pray about it. If you pray. Please. In charity, in kindness, and in love of peace, your fellow United States citizen who happens to be bisexual, bigendered, Hungarian, British American, who was raised by someone who tried to make me and his whole household as only incidentally American as possible, and with me succeeded more than he did with the rest. Hungarian tutor, semi-professional bard. And your fellow United States citizen. Servus.